Hello, everybody. Hi. Before we start, could I please ask the speakers just to unmute themselves or to ask to unmute, and we'll get you unmuted. Thank you. Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Hi. A warm welcome to all of you. We are here at the 12th Women in Sectional Title webinar, and we're really so grateful that we're able to be here, that we've spent a couple of months going through all different topics together, and we wouldn't have been able to do that without your support. I see the same names popping up over and over again on this webinar, and thank you. I'm even going to try and take time to contact you and thank you personally. And of course, we've also got the wholehearted support of our sponsors, always, ZDFIN, CIA, BCM Track, Meeting Pal, and Sectional Title Solutions. Today, I must just tell you that we've got prizes worth 8,500 Rand from our wonderful sponsors and also from NAMA, the National Association of Managing Agents. So I think all in all, we're in for a very good webinar. And I'm excited today because I've been trying for quite a long time to get the ladies from CSOS to come and join us. And luckily they've agreed to do that today, and we're going to be talking about quite a few things. So on the 7th of October 2016, the Community Scheme Ombud Service Act came into being. It was promulgated after quite a few years of looking into it and seeing good governance around the world and putting together this model. And I think that it heralded in a new era for all of us in the sectional title industry and the community schemes industry. It brought in new laws. It brought in some kind of regulation. I mean, the CSOS, the Community Scheme Ombud Service, is the regulator for community schemes. So ultimately, it was a learning curve for all of us, managing agents, owners, trustees. It's only now that things, I think, are starting to really move in a great direction, because when you've got a creature of statute like that, which is so big, take for everything to get into action. So today we're going to talk to the ladies about the legislative role of the regulator, about transformation, about their vision, about things that annoy them working at the Community Scheme Ombud Service, about training and education, which I think is absolutely vital in this industry. Yeah, let's see where the conversation takes us. So I would just like to check that the ladies are unmuted and on board. So firstly, we have a very warm welcome to Thembelihle Mbata. Thembelihle is the Chief Financial Officer at the CSOS and is now the Acting Chief Ombud. Thembelihle, are you there?
Yes, I am. And good morning to you, Marina, and good morning to everyone.
Welcome. Then we've got Jolene Vassemann. I think Jolene is known to all of you because she always gets our emails and queries. Jolene is the Manager of Governance.
Morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. Nice to see you, Jolene. Then we've got another familiar face, Karen Blaze. Karen is an adjudicator at CSOS.
Hi, Marina. Thanks for the opportunity, and hello, everybody.
Excellent. And last but certainly not least, we've got Vuyiswa Dolo, who's in education and training. She's the coordinator. Hi, Vuyiswa.
Morning, Marina. Morning, everyone. And thank you so much for having us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks again. All right. I think let's kickstart. I'd like to start with Thembelihle, that's possible, the Acting Chief Ombud and Chief Financial Officer. You know, when I was chatting to an attorney that I met in Sydney in 2016, when the service came into being, he was absolutely shocked and stunned at the fact that South Africa had managed to put this Ombud service together, and had he was the thing that shocked him the most was actually the fact that every unit was paying a levy towards the financing of the scheme. He wasn't convinced that they would be able to get that right in New South Wales, in Sydney. So I think we mustn't underestimate where we've come, what we're doing. Thembelihle, it's been 5 years now, and I know that you are new to the CSOS as well, so we're not going to probe too deeply, but in general, after 5 years, it'll be 5 years now in October, how do you feel the CSOS are doing? How do you feel it's going from a financial point of view? Do you have buy-in?
Yes, definitely. I think the future looks very bright for the CSOS. And although we're still starting, it's interesting, I think even with Sydney, to note that South Africa is probably forming one of the top 10 countries that have a number of community schemes. So I think if we do get it right in South Africa, we could actually, lead globally in terms of how this can be done properly. So in the last 5 years, we have had good years. I mean, the community schemes are coming together, and we have about 30,000 odd schemes registered in our database at the moment. And we know that there's definitely much more. So the awareness, of the CSOS and the work that we do becomes very important. And, with the levy payments, we're doing roughly well. I think at this stage, we have around 250 million that we are collecting, which is quite significant, but there could be more because the services that we offer, the dispute resolution, it's professional services with yourselves, the legal fraternity being the adjudicators. So we invest quite a lot in the resources to enable the CSOS to give quality governance, documentation that we issue, the circulars that we do, as well as the dispute resolution that we do. And really, if our levy, the maximum you can pay as a unit for a levy is about 40 Rand. So the value that we bring, 40 Rand is almost like an insurance. If in any event you'd have disputes and you can't afford a lawyer, we are here as the CSOS to give you that benefit. So the future definitely looks bright. I'm hoping to get buy-in holistically from the country so that we come together. One can start a project, but if we're all in it and we see the vision, definitely would be a world-class Ombud service.
Absolutely. And Thembelihle, what happens with those complexes that aren't compliant? What happens, because obviously they're going to owe money going back to the beginning, and there's an interest rate that's charged on that as well. So will there be, I seem to remember something about inspectors being appointed and that type of thing. Are we there yet?
Yes, I think in the near future we'll be there. We're currently busy with an organizational restructuring and redesign so that we make sure that we have the optimal structure for the work that we want to set out to do. So at this stage, it's still voluntary, but it's a mandate. It's required by the Act for every community scheme to register. So now we want to get everyone, give them the grace to come and register voluntarily, and therefore then come in and start doing enforcement. And enforcement, as you know, is not nice. It's always good to have a cordial relationship starting where everyone knows what they are required to do in terms of the law. They get themselves registered. We are able to assist them as well. And maybe Jolene can also add on the part of the enforcement, what the future looks like in terms of enforcement.
Yes. Absolutely. We often talk about, we know that the mandate of the CSOS is to keep an eye on corporate governance documentation, to look at alternative dispute resolution, and obviously also to look into the education and training campaigns around the country. But when it comes to other services like value-added services, I know the CSOS has always been engaged in that kind of thing. So what can you tell us about those services?
Okay, so one thing that is exciting that's coming up in the horizon in terms of value-added services that the CSOS is coming to bring to the forth is something we call a CSOS Transformation Fund. So we're working at setting up this transformation fund, and this fund would seek to incentivize, the development of underdeveloped community managing agents as well, executive managing agents. So we're looking at opportunities to subsidize the funding of those previously disadvantaged targeted parts of our country. And one of the targets that we have is enabling women-owned companies. That's one of our procurement strategies with this transformation fund. So of this fund, 40% will be directed towards women. And I love the fact that we're sitting here with women in property, women in the sector. So we are going to be allocating resources towards them. Also exposing them to twinning agreements. We've already started consulting with our NAMA and our ARC organizations that are already in the space in terms of that, and also assisting with bridging financing. We know that some of these agents require insurance like Fidelity Insurance Group cover to set up. So we'll be covering such things and we'll negotiate this on behalf of the agents. That's something that we're looking at, especially in the transformational space. And so we want to incentivize as well learnerships and internship programs, just to get, as you know, there's not a lot of women in the sector, female, and the future is female. And for most of us, when we go into community schemes, you're likely looking for security, you want protection for your little ones, you want a community where we'll all be able to live together. And sometimes the voice gets lost somewhere, especially in these trustee meetings. And I think that's where the education and training comes in from Jolene's unit, so that they can educate all the homeowners together with the trustees and the board on the harmonious living and the rules that are there and the remedies that are there for them if a dispute also arises. So the future is looking quite good. And we're looking at opportunities to manage government property. There's a lot of property that we have as government, but it's mostly managed by untransformed companies, so to speak. So you want to come in there and say, hey, there's women in the space, there's disadvantaged groups, how do we let them in?
Oh, that's fantastic. I'm really, really so happy to hear that. And we look forward to partnering with you on any of these kind of initiatives as well. So thank you. Also, just one last question I've got for you. The registration process. How can managing agents kind of assist you in the registration process? Are you guys up to date? Is the CSOS up to date with the registrations that are going through, so there are no backlogs? And how can we assist you?
I think with that one, I'd like to just pass it over to Jolene.
Okay. All right, we'll pass it on to the enforcer.
Yes, the enforcer.
That's fine, absolutely. All right, lovely. Thank you so much. And speaking of enforcement, Jolene Vassemann, you've got a job on your hands managing governance. I think that's quite I was going to ask you what you do every day, like your daily routine, but I don't have like 3 hours. So ultimately, yeah, just tell me, how do you go about monitoring governance, and what is the sphere, the spectrum of what you do?
Thanks, Marina. I'm not sure. Can everybody see me?
Yes.
Oh, I just
Yes,
can't
we
see
can.
myself. It's not a bad thing that I can't see myself then, ladies and gentlemen. I see there's comments from gentlemen as well. Thank you so much, Marina. Thank you, CFO. I think, yes, we do not have 3 hours to run through my day. At the end of the day, it is very, very important. We have one goal, and I'm the #1 fan for the CSOS, and I'm working here, so it's living really the dream. At the end of the day, Marina, you touched on a very valid point about the levies, and it's backdated to 2017, and there's still community schemes that's not aware of the CSOS. So we want to reach everybody as quick as possible in order for them not another year to roll over to have this burden of back paying your CSOS levies. Of course, if you can't waive your CSOS levies, because that's always a possibility, and I urge the members of this to please take that on and waive your CSOS levies and fees if it's applicable to you, the provisions in the waiver directive. So what have we done? How are we going to enforce? How are we going to find everybody? Well, the CSOS have embarked on a GIS mapping TOR tender that we're going to put out there, where we're going to find all these community schemes that's not yet registered. The picture, as the CFO said, is definitely not bleak at all. 30,000 community schemes registered, taking into account there's only about 110,000 types of community schemes, not types, units in South Africa. You know, so if you take in the duplicates of phases, you know, you built in phases 1 to 6 and the right of extension and sectional title, we almost have registered 50% of all community schemes in South Africa, and they came voluntary to us. How lucky are we at the end of the day? So it's just a matter of finding the other 50% or even 49%. So that is our aim before December, to engage with these community schemes, advise them of their rights and obligations, and to protect them, of course, as well as the community scheme, the trustees, and of course to let them know about the CSOS and that we are here to serve. We are here to serve you, the members. So it's very, very important that governance, we ensure good governance within the CSOS as well as in community schemes in South Africa.
Jolene, when you talk about getting people to comply, you know, very often, unfortunately, as we've seen, you know, you've got to sometimes drag people kicking and screaming. Could it be something, and I think we did look at it at one stage when I was on the board of CSOS, to get the banking industry involved to assist you? Because, you know, why should a property be transferred, or there's a bond holder, why should the property be transferred and somebody doesn't ask, well, are you registered with CSOS? Because if this complex is not registered with CSOS, we're not going to let the transfer go through. You know, that kind of compliance from that. Do you see that taking place ever?
Definitely, it already took place. We, the BASA, the Banking Association of South Africa, is one of our strategic partners. We had a number of meetings with them as yet. What we're going to do, the CSOS is formulating a training pack for all potential first home buyers that requires bonds in South Africa, to give them the CSOS documentation, because you'll often find, as you know, Marina, I'm sold a property and I'm not made aware of levies. So how would I know about levies? And then there's CSOS levies and everything. Yes, we are busy with that pack. So with our next quarterly meeting with BASA, it's definitely going to go live in the industry. So we're looking forward to that. And that being said, we're also touching on other strategic partners like the municipalities. If you get your rates and taxes certificate, slotting in a CISO info pack there to say, here's the CSOS, this is the regulator of community schemes in South Africa, and more so, like the CFO mentioned, NAMA, ARC, CASA, the Retirement Association of South Africa. We have various strategic partners in CSOS. We also have a very young and upcoming Black association, YIPA, that we're going to introduce to this to the industry very shortly. That is they all under 35. They are a Black-owned association, and they would like to see more young people being employed in community schemes. So we are so looking forward to introducing you to all our new ventures at the CSOS.
That's amazing to hear. And I'm glad, and I'm so happy to hear about the young people that want to become involved. You know, I think from a trustee and owner's point of view, I wish that was also the case, because often when you hold these seminars and things, it's always often looks like a retirement village, doesn't it? When everybody's coming to say hello. I often host a free sectional title week here at BBM Attorneys, and my fellow directors always laugh, because they say it's like retirement pensioners week here at BBM, because it's all the older people who want to know everything. So I think that's great. Also, something I just want to ask you, Jolene, we spoke about it a while ago, executive managing agents. I know there's something on the boil at CSOS. Just tell us more.
Yes, it's almost finalized. I'm once again very excited. We're 99% there of formulating our panel. So what have we done in the meantime? We're not going to formulate the panel because obviously, you know, Marina, you've been on the CSOS board. They only meet quarterly. So we had to have all our ducks in a row when we launched this panel of executive managing agents to the industry, and we're launching it in September. That's next month. And please hold me to it. So what we have done, we have a board-approved code of conduct for executive managing agents. We have a board-approved server level agreement for executive managing agents and their clients. We give the executive managing agents not only training, but a training pack at the end of the day to enable them to know their rights and obligations, as well as the industry. So we're going to, there's certain criteria to be on the CSOS panel of executive managing agent. That's non-negotiable, as we are passionate about transformation, as the CFO said. First one is a triple BE certificate, not a non-compliant BE certificate, a compliant BE certificate. And then the next non-negotiable is a valid fidelity fund certificate from the Estate Agents Affairs Board. Thirdly, NQ5 qualification from the estate agents affair board or equivalent, and then of course professional indemnity cover and fidelity insurance cover. You know, so that is the criteria, and if you meet that criteria, you are on the CSOS's panel of executive managing agents. We're going to train you in September. We're going to introduce you to the industry and all the community schemes, sectional titles in September. So we're really looking forward to that, and we'll definitely engage with VITS once this goes live. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Jolene. One last question I've got: the quality of the rules. The quality of the rules in sectional title schemes and your access to corporate governance documentation electronically. Are we going to start seeing that at some stage?
Yes, definitely. We have amended our practice directive on rules. It went live the last quarter, board approved. And, you know, we have ironed out 28 undesirable rules that we often find in management and conduct rules. So we told this to the industry and said, you know what, this is the undesirable rules. Please do not have this in your rules. We're also having a process. It's going live, I think, September or October, where we have that Section 10 certificate, Marina, for sectional title developments. We're going to have that as a soft copy. No need to come to the CSOS anymore to collect your Section 10 certificate. We're going to have our own CSOS seal and stamp on it, and then you can hand that into the deeds office. Simultaneously, we're also talking with the chief register for them to accept such a copy signed by the chief ombud. And of course, one of the other value added services we have in governance, as we do quality assure MOIs, articles of associations, anything to do with any other type of community scheme, everything is free of charge, except the CSOS levy and the CSOS dispute fee. So please make use of that value added service for us to quality assure your MOI. We're not issuing a Section 10 certificate, but merely a compliance certificate signed by the chief ombud. Thanks.
Okay, lovely. Okay, good. All right. So we've heard already from two very dynamic ladies. I think it's time to give away a few prizes. So what we've done is we've used an app where we've placed all the people who are at this meeting into the app, and then it randomly mixes you all up, and it's sort of spat out 3 names so far, and we'll do the other 3 a little bit later. So we don't have KPMG, but I'm hoping we're not going to be sued for anything. Okay, so our first prize is sponsored by Sectional Title Solutions. Thank you, Sectional Title Solutions. We appreciate you. The prize is a 6-month subscription to Paddock's course, and the prize has been won by, let's just have a look, Alexandra Vensky. Alexandra, are you there? Do you want to unmute yourself?
I am here.
Oh, excellent. Great. Congratulations. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Good, good. We'll keep in touch, and then we'll hand you your prize.
You're an absolute darling. Thanks so much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So then the next prize winner, it's a Take-A-Lot voucher of 500 Rand, and it's sponsored by BCM Track. Thank you, BCM Track. Lorraine van Dierman.
Hi, I'm here, and thank you very much.
Great.
What a thrill.
Great.
Thank you.
Great, Lorraine. Lovely. Enjoy. Take-A-Lot's got such good stuff, I must say. Then winner 3, the prize here is sponsored by Annette Lang, who's on our WIST committee. Thanks, Annette. It's a 1,000 Rand sorbet voucher. And the winner is Lamise Finch.
Oh, from...
You there, Lamise?
Yes, I am here.
Super. Good. We'll be in touch with you for that. It depends which area are you in?
In the southern suburbs.
Okay.
Quite close to Annette Lang, in fact.
Oh, okay. Lovely. Cape Townian. Excellent. I'm flying to Cape Town actually straight after this webinar. So I might be able to hand deliver it. Anyway, well done.
Good weather. Thank you.
Well, thanks. Okay, let's carry on, please. We are looking now at the sort of nitty-gritty of dispute resolution, and to speak to us about that is Karen Blaze. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Marina.
Okay, so You're at the coalface of alternative dispute resolution, and I know that when I was with CSOS on the board, the majority of dispute resolution cases revolved around financial issues. Is that still the case, or do you see a change in that?
Strangely enough, the majority of cases regarding financial matters are in Gauteng. The other provinces don't seem to have much of that. But definitely in Gauteng, financial dispute resolution is at the forefront.
Okay.
The levy arrears, definitely, very much so. And we're finding that there are so many and so few get resolved at conciliation that the Ombud is actually putting them straight through to adjudication rather than sending them to conciliation. Because I think so far this year, we are close to, and I'm not, it's off the top of my head, but we've got so far about 3,000 cases or matters that have come through to dispute resolution. I think up to about March on dispute resolutions. I'm not sure how many of those are actually financial, but that is in Gauteng alone.
Oh, amazing. And tell me just, I know we're going to talk through a couple of tips and hints that you're going to give people, but what are your thoughts on mediation in general? Are you seeing other than financial issues? Do a lot of cases get resolved at mediation stage?
Regrettably, no. I think people, by the time that they refer a matter, they're so set on winning. And as you know, even the courts are now rather referring matters or insisting that matters go to mediation or conciliation rather than going to court. And it's always mediation or conciliation is a win-win situation where both parties are going to walk away saying, we've won something. We're coming out of it with having really won something and not losing everything. Whereas when you come to adjudication, there's always one party that's going to lose. And from an adjudicator's perspective, we're not the most popular people because one party is going to be unsuccessful. So, and that's it's not a nice position to be in. So rather always take a matter to mediation and be prepared to weigh something, to say, well, how, at the end of the day, when you're living in a sectional title scheme or a community scheme, you are going to see that person. You're going to drive past that person in the morning or in the afternoon, evening when you come home from work. And it's so much better just to wave hello to them or goodbye to them than to drive past them and swear at them underneath your breath or under your breath. So it's so much better to be able to resolve the matter than to go to adjudication where you may or may not be successful.
100%. Look, I don't think it's so much under your breath that they're swearing at each other, Corinne. I think it's actually very loud in my experience. But I think it is also, the fact is that people are stressed,
Yes.
people are under pressure financially, and I think it's this aggression that's kind of come out. I'm seeing it in our practice as well, where people want to win under all circumstances, and it's not right. Mediation, I agree with you. Mediation is certainly the way to go. Also, urgent matters that are going to adjudication, that are going to go straight to the Ombud. Or how does that work? Are you seeing a lot of urgent cases being heard?
Absolutely. From a CSOS perspective, there are a very limited number that can come straight to an adjudication for urgent adjudication. One, obviously, is where electricity or water has been disconnected. And we do those on a weekly basis. I can't say on a daily basis, weekly basis, and they get done immediately. Then a third one is where somebody is denied access to the scheme. And it sounds ridiculous, but it happens often. And then the third one is where it's a semi-urgent matter where documents from managing agents are being held back.
Yeah, big one.
It's a big one, and that can't happen. Obviously, an agent has got a lien on documentation for the body corporate's documentation if their fees haven't been paid.
Yes.
That's also a subject.
Yeah.
Can't disconnect electricity. Yes,
yeah,
carry on.
As an adjudicator, I'm sure you get frustrated because you have to tell people out there, you know, how to make the process easier or what to avoid. Can you convey that?
Yes. Earlier you mentioned that that CSOS is a creature of statute, and that means really that that the organization itself has been established by the CSOS Act, or in terms of the CSOS Act. But in the same way, an adjudicator is a creature of statute because an adjudicator has also been established in terms of the CSOS Act. And the relief or the orders that can be granted are specifically set out in the CSOS Act. And that to me is very important, and it can be frustrating as an adjudicator, because the members, or at least the stakeholders of CSOS out there, the managing agents and the individuals who bring an application for dispute resolution, are frequently not aware that they should read, or they should go onto our website and see what kind of relief can I request. I always say, if somebody has insulted you, which frequently happens in bodies corporate, unfortunately, you can't bring an application to ask for an apology. You have to look at Section 39 of the CSOS Act to see what relief you can request. There are a limited number of orders that you can request, and these are set out. So if you come to CSOS and you give this vast list of orders that you want against your neighbor because your neighbor just has, you're not happy with your neighbor's actions, the truth of the matter is we're going to just dismiss that order, and it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of and time is money, so you don't want to waste your time. You want to ask specific orders, and you want to come and you want them to be granted, because you may have a good case, but you're going to lose it on the basis that you are angry and you've come to us at the spur of the moment, or it's a principal matter. And as you will know, most people will know, you don't institute an action in court or come to CSOS on the basis of principle. You must research what you're doing.
For sure. And if we have to just speak about Section 39 and what you can bring, I mean, there are financial matters that, that fall under Section 39, there are behavioral matters, there are matters regarding meetings, there are matters regarding managing agents, also about private works on common property, on private property. Those are the kind of orders. But also under Section 39(7)(b), there's a general, and it says that orders can also be proposed by the Ombud.
Yes.
Has that ever happened?
Well, those are set out in the practice directives, and from time to time, the Chief Ombud can specify what those orders are. So somebody can't come to CSOS, look at that Section 39(7)(b) and say, I want the Ombud to propose X. They're not going to get that right. So they want to go through the practice directive. I'll give you an example. A few months ago, I had somebody apply for an order because their courtyard had been completely overrun by sewage. So that was under Section 39(7)(b), because if somebody's health and safety is compromised, that has been stated in the practice directive to fall under Section 39(7)(b). It was so bad that when I did the investigation, her children were being compromised, and another order along the same vein was that somebody had come back, her entire unit was being overrun by flies. Now, you can imagine how that had compromised herself and her children's health. And she had, because the body corporate was placed on terms and did not do something about that, she then ended up spending a significant amount of money by one of these, I didn't even know until then that they existed, where the hygiene company comes out and actually excavates a certain portion of the ground, takes it away, comes and fills in and does the necessary to what do you call it, to sanitize the area.
Amazing, sure.
Yeah.
I think you must see quite a lot. Thank you, Karen. We really appreciate your input. Thank you. All right, we're moving on to Vuyiswa Dolo. Vuyiswa is dealing, she's the coordinator for education and training. Also a big job. Vuyiswa, how are you enjoying it?
Yes, it is, Karen, and it's very challenging since, well, you know, we're living in very challenging times due to the COVID situation that we're facing as a country. But we are trying to make the best out of the situation, trying to think out of the box and be flexible when it comes to our training programs.
Fantastic. And when you talk about training programs, at the moment, what is on offer, you know, as training?
We offer on very diverse topic, Karen. I must say that our sorry, Marina, our training our training programs are very broad, and what I like about them is that they're not stringent, they're very flexible. So we train on anything, everything community scheme related. So we encourage stakeholders to come through, send us emails via our training email address or to myself, and just suggest a topic they like to be trained on, or things that they would like to be trained on in regards to their needs.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the education and training side is vital, because as we've gone along, and if you look on social media platforms, the questions that are still being asked about sectional title, it really blows my mind that, you know, people are buying in and they still are not sort of aware or educated. I know that Jolene and Karen as well have been involved with training and, you know, Zoom meetings and things like that. And hopefully as things loosen up, there'll be a way to do that. And are you looking for partners in terms of training programs? Have you appointed any group to educate people, or are you just doing it in-house?
At the moment, in-house, but yes, we are looking at possibilities of getting other stakeholders involved in our training processes. And I must say that we have so much content out there on different topics. So we invite people to really go and check out our YouTube channels, to check out our website where they will find our newsletters with different topics, our Facebook page, we have our Twitter account, so they can just engage and interact with us via all those platforms.
And I've also seen an increased kind of marketing campaign with banners and signs on the highways and things on CSOS. I think that's fantastic.
Yes,
and things like radio shows and TV and that type of thing.
Yes, we are looking at that. We are looking at a very broad spectrum of training. So it's not only training via your Teams or webinars or Zoom. We are trying to enlarge our territory as much as we can, so that we'll reach a larger audience when it comes to empowering and training our stakeholders.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. And good luck with all those endeavors, because that's going to make a difference in the country for sure.
Thank you so
much. All right. Thank you. I'd like to also just go on to the next three winners, and then I'm going to give you an opportunity to ask a few questions. I know people are dying to ask questions. We might even have to go over time a little bit, but I think it's worthwhile because we don't get hold of the CSOS ladies, 4 of them all at once. Okay, so our next prize is sponsored by CIA and the insurance company, and it's a Take-A-Lot voucher of 500 Rand. The winner is Monique Gordon. Monique, you there?
Hi, Marina. Yes, I am.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure. Then the fifth winner, let's just, oh, sorry, hold on a minute. Let me just see what I've done here. Okay. All right. Then the Nuts and Bolts course, which is sponsored by the University of Pretoria, which is a really, really great online one-year course, which has been sponsored by NAMA. The winner is Ronel Labuskachny.
Hi, I'm here. Thanks a million. That's great.
That's fantastic, Ronel. Good. I'm very, very pleased. And the last winner, which is a really lovely spa day voucher worth 2,500 Rand, which was sponsored by ZD Fin, is Caroline Mersic.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
That's a pleasure. Great pleasure. All right, we're opening the floor now. If anybody would like to ask any one of these ladies questions, your time is now. Anybody?
May I ask a question?
Yes, of course.
Good morning to the panel. Just a question with regards to the conciliation and adjudication process. First of all, I'm very pleased to see that there is plan to do the Adjudicators Roadshow. I think that's a fabulous initiative. And then just with regards to adjudication specifically, is it correct to assume that an adjudication order is based on an application of the law as opposed to being treated as a mediation?
Karen, do you want to answer that?
Yes. Yes, adjudications are based entirely on the law, which we can't deviate from that. So you will notice if you've had an adjudication already, we look at case law. So we look at precedent, and generally in an adjudication, you will note that we refer to case law. In other words, High Court case law. We will refer to sections of the Act. And that's what an outcome of an adjudication is based on. So I'm just going to summarize. We will look at the CSOS Act, relief in terms of Section 39, as well as other sections of the CSOS Act. We'll look if it's a sectional title adjudication, then we'll quote sections of the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act that apply, and the Sectional Titles Act if those sections apply. And we will refer to case law, and that's what it's based on. Conciliations or conciliations, they don't have to specifically apply to the Act so much. We're looking at a settlement and a settlement agreement where each party must give something in order to reach a settlement agreement. Parties then reach a settlement agreement, and they each have to sign that settlement agreement then and there. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you, Karen. And then just another question is, I attended a roadshow which took place some time back, and mention was made of an internal review process at CSOS, which I understand was possibly something that was on the cards. Is that something that is still under discussion? Because at this point, where there is possibly question in terms of error in law where an adjudicator's order has been made, the next step now is that people need to be approaching the High Court on a matter of law, which in essence really, kind of goes against what the CSOS is in terms of being a cost-effective dispute resolution channel, where that internal review process may assist in alleviating that as a step. Is that something that is still being considered?
Yes, they are still looking at it, because you're quite right, it goes against the whole principle of the CSOS if there is an error in law, because it's very expensive to go to the High Court. So we are looking at that. Another thing that is being looked at, I must tell you, I think it's already gone to Parliament, in fact, is that to broaden the Section 39 relief and a whole lot of other issues, because currently, for example, you can't come to CSOS for any relief against an administrator or against the developer. So that is being broadened considerably because the relief is very, very limited in Section 39. So that is being looked at, and an internal review process is being looked at. I'm not sure when that will take place.
Excellent. Thank you, Corin.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes, please, Marina. It's Barbara here.
Hello,
Marina,
Barbara.
my sweetie. Sorry, I came in late one of those mornings. Marina, there's a number of questions in the chat box. I don't know if you're going to have a look there. Some of them are quite valid, some aren't, but I think they should be looked in.
100%. I think we'd like to perhaps put them in a document and then get those questions answered. I think that would be valuable. I see. Okay. Yeah, let's just see. All right. There's one question here that says we've been waiting for ruling from CSOS since February. Only now do they say there has to be a dispute lodged. Took them 7 months. What's happening with those kind of cases? Are we kind of catching up? Are we behind? How do you feel?
Yeah, that was mine, Marina. We applied for a ruling and it took 7 months for them to say they can't make a ruling, they have to have a dispute. Corin, is that correct? Surely they don't have to have a dispute to make a ruling. It's in fact on a constitution for an HOA. Rochelle is now, Jolene is now handling it.
That wouldn't be, yes, that wouldn't be a dispute because that would go to Jolene's department. It's only if there are two parties that are disputing it, Barbara, that it would then
well, that's why we didn't understand it. Why she's now insisting that we lodge a dispute. So we've had to, a query on the Constitution was raised, and so we've used that email to say, well, all right, that's the other party. But they never raised a dispute. We just asking for a ruling on the Constitution, and she says, no, we have to have a dispute. So we've lodged a dispute, but just rubbed a little bit, you know, and it took them 7 months for them to say that.
And I think also there's one other question here I just wanted to raise about invoices and getting invoices and up-to-date statements and things. There was a problem with that on the chat box. Who is the best person to kind of push things through to if there've been problems which are sort of over a reasonable time? I think that's really where we want to get with worries about delay.
Jolene, are you still here?
I'm here.
Okay.
Answer the question.
All right. So yeah, I think obviously there's escalation processes within CSOS. I've given Marina, I've given my email address, my cell phone number in the chat line there. Please email me. We have business unit presentations, who to escalate what to. So I think if it's a dispute, you're going to escalate to the Adjudicator General, Kanosi, or if you've not, or the 3 ombuds that reports to the Adjudicator General. I think for revenue, obviously the CFO would advise of one of her managers who to escalate to. So please just email me, ask the question, and I'll direct you in the direction that you wish to go.
Jolene, just give your email address for us. I know it's on the chat line, but people have got a pen and paper. Let them just write it quickly.
Okay, it's Jolene. It's JOHLENE .Vasserman, WASSERMAN @csos.org.za.
Thank you. And I also see that there are quite a few compliments on the chat box for Corin and Jolene, who do a great job and I think are so helpful. So well done to you as well. And we've got a last few prizes. It's just CSOS have very kindly donated 5 hampers. They're like packages and they've got really, really nice things in for you. And the winners, the 5 winners are the first ladies who logged on. So the early birds here really catch the worm. And I think, yeah, the 5 CSOS hamper winners, Isabel Kuhn, Heather Starbuck, Cheryl Leather, Helen Marshall, and Jenny Smith. We will be in touch with you. We'll contact you by way of email to give you your prizes and to sort all that out. So I think it's been a really fantastic webinar. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. We are behind you. We want to make CSOS work, whatever we can do, whatever our industry can do to help you. I think that would be amazing sort of collaboration between parties. Again, I've mentioned it is our 1-year anniversary next month, so we're having a really special webinar for you. Thank you to ZDFIN, CIA, BCM Track, Meeting Pal, Sectional Title Solutions, and today to NAMA as well for sponsoring our prizes and for being such great sponsors. And next month, we're also going to discuss a really exciting bursary fund that we are going to start for dedicated women who are committed to improving their careers in our industry. Anyway, thank you so much for today. Take care, keep safe, and until we see you next month, thank you.
Thank you, Marina. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you, Marina.
Thanks, Marina.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Looking forward to getting my prize too. Have a good week,
Super.
everyone. Bye.